Hello, my loves. It is Kennedy. Today, we're going to be talking about some invisible rules in the application process. And you can use this whether you are in ND school, MD school, applying to undergrad, your master's, whatever your application process looks like. These things are important. And I want to give you a grandma quote because we love grandma. And she always told me if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So today we are planning so we don't fail. And I want you to subscribe to the channel because we love that. We are growing and I love that for us. So let's continue to grow and let's get started. So first you're going to set your intentions. And you want to set your intention first, way before you actually get to applying for the school. Set your intentions. And what that looks like is answering the question of why and what. So you're going to go into why this program, why me, why this school, why the field, what is my why? What am I doing it for? Who am I doing it for? What do I think that I can add? What do I offer? What does it offer me? All these things are important. And you want to think about them first because when you're doing your research, you're going to have essay questions that come along with the application. And you don't want to wait till your essay questions in order to start thinking about your who, what, when, where, and why. You want to already have your ball rolling and get your mind going with these questions. So we want to do that first. And with that, we want to research. Specifically, we want to research the school and we want to research their mission statement. And that mission statement is key. It's kind of like the profile page on somebody's dating app or social media. It tells you everything about that person. Your mission statement is going to tell you everything about the school that you're applying to. It's going to tell you their morals, their values, what their goals are, where they plan on taking the field, the school, their overall vibe. And you want to get a piece of that so you can help yourself write down what these goals are and what your reasoning is for wanting to go to that program. So all these things are connected. Your mission statement or the mission statement of the school is directly connected to your goals and your reasonings. So if you go ahead and do this now, way before you even look at the application, then you're already setting your mind up for success. You're putting your mind in the state to be vulnerable, to already be thinking about what I want to do, why I want to do this. And it also gives you that motivation piece. It helps to build your confidence, which is so important when you're applying to school because you need that confidence to keep you going, right? You need that confidence to make sure that you don't start to get that imposter syndrome when we start pulling out our transcripts, when we start having to apply for loans or apply for financial aid. We want to have confidence with that. So setting your intentions first helps to build that confidence and helps build up yourself so that you can go into it knowing that you can do this because you can do this. You want to look at things like their location, the neighborhood, cost of living, the culture that you're walking into. All these things are important not only just for your school life, but for your personal life. So you want to think about all of these things that have to do with the school itself and everything else around the school. What is your life going to look like? What are the things that are going to have to be necessary? How are you going to support yourself? Housing, food, setting up your intentions. Right now we're in the preparation. And that's what setting your intentions are. You're preparing for what you're about to do. So I have it here, like your intentions is like your preparation, and then your research is like your task, right? So right now we're just getting our mind right. We're getting our mind right to apply. Next, we're going to do our research and actually get everything going with the application process. All right, now for the groundwork. Now we're going to go into our research. Okay, now for the ground part. Next, we're going to look into our research. And when we're doing that, we are preparing our package. And by our package, I mean our application. So when we're preparing our package, now we're looking at all the research for everything that we need to submit. And that's going to mean our transcripts, any supporting documents, personal recommendations, anything that they might need in your package. This is the time that we're going to be getting it. Also to include our financial aid. What does our money look like? What are our options? It's very critical during this research time that you ask yourself, what are the calls that I'm going to need to make, the people I'm going to need to reach out to, the paperwork I'm going to need to have in order to get this done. And a big part of this is that money part. Huge part. Ask your financial aid what your options are. Are there scholarships? Are there grants? Are there any other free money out there, special groups that may offer funds? Any loans that you may have available to you? Any type of money that you can get. This is the time for that. And I want to encourage you to never give up on the money piece, because there is literally money everywhere. There is money everywhere. You just have to go out and find it. When you are doing this research piece, one of the most important things that you need to do is what I call the big three. You already have all this information that you're going to need to pull because you're in the research part of your application. But specifically this big three, your essays, your recommendations, and your financial aid. And we got into that financial aid part, but more specifically, calling your financial aid. Make sure that you communicate with them. Tell your story. Let them know, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I want to do. This is where I'm coming from. How can you help me? What are my options? And you want to get that financial aid piece working, because it's a moving part. It's always going to be relevant. And the sooner that you can get your FAFSA done, or the sooner that you can apply for these loans and scholarships, the better. We're always on a time management crunch when we're doing applications. And this is another reason why it's so important for us to start 3 to 6 months ahead, so we can give ourselves, I prefer a good 4 months ahead, so we can give ourselves plenty of time to get everything together. So with our big three, our essays, so we actually kind of already done that. Because up here, we wrote our goals and our reasonings. That's going to be directly related to this part. So you want to have those essays going. You want to start looking at what are the questions for the essays, and what your answers are going to be. And another reason why it's so important to set your intentions is because if you did it up here and when you were planning, then you kind of are already ahead of the ball because you did it in the planning stage. So when you are researching, pull out these big threes. One, your essays. Go ahead and get those started. Two, you want to pull out your references or your recommendations. Who are these people going to be? And what are they doing? How are they helping you? Are they writing an essay? Are they writing a paragraph? Are they just answering questions on a piece of paper in your defense? What is that recommendation process going to look like? You want to reach out to those people and start that because that involves somebody else and you want to help people that are helping you. So going ahead and getting that started, figuring out who those personal recommendators are is going to be so important. In addition to your financial aid piece and going to go find your money and calling financial aid and communicating with them about your story and the things that you may need or the things that may be applicable for you while you are applying to this school. One of the big parts about this whole research piece, I'm going to put it in what's a bold color? Put it in this color. Important piece of this is time. Do this with time in mind. You need to give yourself a great turnaround. Think about it like this. Transcripts alone can take about 2 weeks. Supporting documents, depending on where they're coming from, can take 3 weeks to 1 month. With these kind of turnarounds, you want to give yourself enough time to get all this done. So when you're doing your research, you have to be cognizant of the idea of time because time is of the essence, especially when you're applying to school. So think about this and always keep that in mind, your time piece and your research piece. And make sure that you are pulling out your big three, your essays, your references, recommendations, all of that information, and your financial aid. And go ahead and get that ball rolling. All these are working pieces. And the reason why these are invisible rules is because nobody tells you about the things that you need to do in between you doing the obvious, which is actually applying to the school. But what about setting your intentions? What about doing the research and preparing your package? And so that's what I'm getting into right now when I'm talking about pulling out all these moving parts of your application package and going ahead and getting those balls rolling, especially the balls that are heavier, like your financial aid, like your recommendation letters, like your transcripts, and those essay pieces, because those are your meat and potatoes of your package. And you want to go ahead and plan for this so you don't fail. Our next important rule, invisible rule, is going to be communication. And this is so much more important than people realize because without this piece, you're not doing things how you're supposed to, making sure that everything is falling through. You want to be able to keep in contact throughout the whole process. From the beginning to the end, you want to know where everything is or just the time frame for everything. So, for example, your communication before you apply is going to look like calling the admissions. It's going to look like calling admissions. You're going to ask them questions about what the application looks like from their perspective, things that they have noticed in the past that helps students to be successful during the application process. And you're also going to let them know your story. You can let them know, hey, I'm interested in this program. This is what I'm in school for right now. This is where I want to carry it with this. What would you suggest as an admission counselor to be the step that I need to take in order to put myself in that door? And see what they have to offer you. There is no shame in doing any of that. I am so good for telling people my story and letting them know that I need help. How can I get help? All of that. So be willing to advocate for yourself, because you're worth advocating for. So advocate for yourself. Let them know where you stand and see how they can help you. During the application process, your communication is going to look like making sure that they got the receipt of your documents, supporting documents, transcripts. As you get these transcripts, these documents in, you need to be sending it off to the school. So don't wait for all your information to come in at one time before you submit it to the school. If you get one transcript this week and you don't end up getting another transcript until next week, submit that transcript for this week. Go ahead and get it done, right? And then it keeps rapport, because applications will always know, okay, I just got this from Kennedy. I got that. This is coming next week. It builds up your rapport with that school. And once you get accepted, it's like, oh, I remember you. You're the person that did this. And I remember you really keeping up and calling and making sure that we got this. And when you apply to school, there is an admissions counselor that is in the conference room with you, with the rest of the school, the leaders in the school, I should say, in order to decide if you get in. So admissions will be in the room deciding on your fate, so to speak. So you want to make sure that you build up a rapport with them. So go ahead, call them, ask questions. When you get one transcript, send it over. If you get the supporting documents the next week, send it over then. Just call if you ask questions. Have your personal recommendations. Call them if they have questions. Just get it done, and don't be scared to ask questions, and don't be scared to keep calling, because that communication is very important. And then once you've done your research, you've got all this information together, your communication after the fact is going to be verifying that they received everything. Now you're doing that final call to say, hey, I feel like I've sent in all the things that you need. Can you please confirm that you've gotten everything, that my packet is complete? After you say that, you can go ahead and let them know, hey, what is the turnaround? Is there a point of contact that you can give me? A person that I can talk to if I end up having questions in the process? And that's a very fair question. It's a very important question, and it lets them know that you are excited, you want to keep in contact, and this is where you want to be. So that is so important to communicate in those ways while you're going through this whole process. And I said it before, I will say this so many times. Never be afraid to ask, to check in, to call. Never be afraid to go get your chicken. If you're hungry and they have fried chicken, a bucket full of Popeye's fried chicken, you know it got to be Popeye's because I'm a New Orleans girl. A bucket full of fried chicken, and you are hungry. You're not just going to sit there with your mouth drooling like, I'm just waiting for somebody to get it. No, you're going to go get it. So go get your chicken. Ask questions. Ask them, hey, how does this process go? I remember I'm first generation med school, and I definitely ask like 1,000 and a million questions every 2 days. No, first generation, like, come on now. Ask questions. And the thing about being first generation and asking questions is also ask for opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities for kids that are first generation undergrad, first generation medical school, first generation engineers. Whatever your lane is, ask for these opportunities. Ooh. whatever your lane is, ask for these opportunities and be comfortable putting yourself out to get the information that you need. You need to be on this. And that's that communication, being on it, calling, and making sure that people have what they need to help you be successful. Set your goals. Set your personal references up for success. Now, what this looks like is finding out how many references you need, who they're going to be. Again, I've said this, but also what their package looks like in order to submit to your school. So what that means is, are they going to have to write a paragraph, an essay, a complete personal recommendation? You know, what is this person gonna have to do in order to help you? Whatever that looks like, you need to do it for them. I'm a firm believer in that. Do it for them. Walking to the classroom with your homework already done. Give them the essay already written. Give them the paragraph that they need to do already written. Write their personal recommendation for them. And then they can go and edit it and tweak it and add their gist for you. That helps the process go a lot faster, and it's a good look. So you definitely want to make sure that you're doing that. Go ahead and get your recommendations together, reach out to those people and do the work for them, because that's going to help them. That's going to really help them to help you. And we need people to help us in the best way. So we want to help people to help us. Last invisible rule that is, to me, the most important is to never give up. This whole process is very scary. There's so many moving parts. It's so easy to feel insecure, but character piece, mind over matter. And I'm going to put something up here in this corner for you guys to look at that video. It's a great video that talks about allowing your mind to be stronger than all the things that you're dealing with in the physical realm, which to include applications, because they are very intimidating. But the first thing is that you can do this because it's your dream. And I'm a firm believer that when God gives you dreams, then you go after them. It doesn't matter what the outside looks like. You go get your chicken. You know what I mean? Go get your chicken. It also means that there is more on the other side than what you think that you might not be qualified for. You know how many opportunities that I didn't do because I felt like I wasn't qualified? But that's a lie. The reality is you are qualified. And a lot of times it just takes you believing in yourself to get it done, for God to show you that you are qualified. And the goal here is to be prepared. A lot of the anxiety that we experience around applications, the depression, the stress, is because we're not prepared as much. When you're prepared, you have a certain confidence about yourself and about what you're doing and everything that's involved with the process. So when you are prepared, you allow for yourself to be put in that top percentage. You give yourself the space to be a good contender, a great contender for the program that you're trying to get, for the program that you're trying to get into. The goal here is not to be perfect. It's not to be overqualified. You don't have to be Einstein. You don't have to be the brightest person in the room. You just set yourself up for success. The goal here is to be yourself and to show these people how you matter to the field and what you can offer, because you have so much to offer. And I hope this was very helpful for all my application babes, all the guys and girls out there that are applying to school, getting their packets together for medical school, thinking about applying, whatever process you're in, I hope this really helps you to get your ball going and to believe in yourself. And I want to encourage you to do that and do it because you deserve it. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you haven't liked, like. And yeah, I love you guys. Bye.